All right, good afternoon, everyone. Back at it again with another MLB DFS video. Kind of just a recap on yesterday. Um, Started off pretty hot, kind of dropped towards the end. I mean, we still cashed, so it doesn't really matter, but we had nobody from Milwaukee or who was the other team, Padres. So Bassett got 37 and took the loss. Did pretty well for Chuck. We had Judge and Stanton that went combined 0 for 7. So I think they're banned, but Rizzo gets a pass for dropping 2 home runs. India Steer did well. I do think we need to ban Toronto though. But
Yeah, I'm fully on board with that. I mean, Toronto's like 0 for 8 going for us right now. So in terms of stacks, what else? So St. Louis chalk pretty much busted yesterday. They were about 20% as a stack. Joe Ryan went nuts.
I was gonna bring him up, yeah. So
Yeah,
if
he
you
was in a
play,
decent spot, but we were on the wrong side of the game. We thought the Yankees were going to put up some more home runs, and then the Twins put up like 4 home runs in the first inning. So it was all
so
downhill from there.
if you play Joe Ryan or literally any Minnesota player, you're Jeff Bezos right now. So
Pretty
congrats.
much, yeah. Um, Reds stack looked pretty good. That was our 3 man, and then we had 3 man of the Yankees. Obviously, you heard Stan Judge. Of course, the one time we pay up for Judge, he sucks. But Rizzo pulled through. Um, and then Toronto did Toronto things. You know, you pay 4K for Springer and Bichette, and they do nothing. But we were able to cash, and we're just moving on to today's slate, which looks a lot more mudded, which is probably good for tournaments today.
Yeah, pitching is a little, I don't want to say it's weird, but there's just a lot of people in play today. It's insane. You want to start with pitching first?
Yeah, just like you
That
said. I mean, there's probably like 10, no, maybe 8 pitchers in consideration. I mean, you got Cortez at 10-3. You have the Mets pitcher, Luis Garcia, too. Um, Justin Steele, I mean, tough matchup against the Dodgers, but we know he's talented. Perez, I'm not a huge fan of going to play Houston. Peralta's good. Sandoval's good. Charlie Morton at 9K looks good against Kansas City too, for sure. He's probably my favorite right now. I have to see where the builds take me. Let's see if I just optimize the lineup real quick where it takes me. Looks like it's spinning Cortez right now, which is understandable. He's 10 flat or 10-3, playing the Twins. So maybe they won't go off for 12 runs again today and he'll be fine. But I think Morton's probably priority. And then, I mean, if you look at the numbers here on Stochastic, the top pitcher has a 6% chance of being the top pitcher, which is Cortez. And then it's literally like 4 through 6% for the next 10 pitchers. So you can take your shots here. No one's going to gain major ownership, I would say, like over 25%. Luis Garcia looks to pick up the most, and then Cortez second. What do you think?
you pretty much hit everything. I really don't like Perez or Steele. I mean, they're good pitchers, but just kind of tough matchups. Luis Garcia at the moment is projected for 25% ownership, and it kind of makes sense. He's 8-9 against a bad Texas Rangers team. What is it? Odai Senga, this like stud from the Mets, put up 43 total fantasy points his last 2 starts, and he's in a great spot against Oakland. So I do think that if you want to pay up, kind of be safe, and I probably just jinxed him. But they're playing Oakland. I do like Charlie Morton at 9 flat. There's just so many pitching options, and Syndergaard is at 8K playing the Cubs, and he's projected out to be like in terms of what is this top like pitcher, like he's got a 6% chance of being the top pitcher at 8K, and he's not what he used to be, but he's playing the Cubs, so I kind of get it, but I think he might get blown up, so I don't really like him that much. But This is one of those slates that it's kind of it is kind of hard to screw up pitching wise, I guess. But I really like Senga, Charlie Morton. If I had to give a third option, it'd be Cortez. Yeah, those are like my three. I Drew Rasmussen, 11-2, but he's playing Toronto. That's the only issue.
Yeah, and I'm not on him at that price and that matchup there. So, I mean, if Morton's going to be half the ownership as Garcia, and they're essentially the same price, I'm just going to play Morton, and he's playing against a worse offense. So, I think people are just going to be off him just because of how bad he's looked recently. Um, but we know
Morton's
he's got the K.
also, sorry, Charlie Morton's also projected for 6% ownership, so that's a little different in a great matchup. It might go up a little later, who knows, but if he's around like 10-ish, let's say, goes up to maybe 15, that's still a good play. Nothing else really stands out. I'm like looking around and literally nothing else is projecting out well for me.
Yeah, and the same thing with stacks too, because of all the pitching options. No stacks are really projecting all that well. Usually, you have a top stack, you know, reach at least 12 to 15%. Highest one right now is at 8% with the Cleveland, and I understand it. And they're not even getting that much ownership. It looks like between 10 to 15 is a stack, and then there's just spread out all across the board. I think it's just in one, the good pitching, and two, just being a massive slate. So I think today's just like a great day to just take some stands on some teams that you like and just go from there and not worry about the ownership as much.
Yeah. So for stacks, I understand the Guardians maybe getting a couple bats. They're playing Washington, Atlanta. So it goes Cleveland, Atlanta, Mets, Rays, Angels. That makes sense. I don't really think that the Mets are getting as much love as they should be just playing against Oakland. What? Hold on. Seventh best stack is St. Louis. I also think because, they were chalked yesterday and they had no runs, kind of thinking narrative, which could potentially screw you over in the end sometimes. They're not getting as much love. This is kind of a bounce back game. And how many times already have we rostered them and they just haven't performed? They've had a couple instances where one of our guys homers, but then Tyler O'Neill gets like one walk and he goes like 0 for 3. There's just like little stuff like that. So I think this is a great bounce back spot for them. Tampa Bay's facing Jose Barrios, and Barrios gives up a bunch of hits and power. So I kind of like Tampa there as well. And they're chasing history too. So they got a little momentum on their side.
Yeah, I think the stack that stands out to me right now is Houston. And let's see where they're pulling up. So about 5% top stack odds, minimal ownership here. And the reason is really just pricing. I mean, Pena and Bregman are like super cheap. Bregman's 31. I think Pena's also 31. Yeah, he is. And then McCormick has had a hit in five straight. His price has kind of jumped, but he's got a hot stick, so I like him. And Tucker looks good too. So, and then you can
It's
always
just
play Yordong, but he's 4,500, so you got to pay up.
it's just weird to see Houston in like middle of the pack on a huge slate because you tend to see them up more. Perez, like last year, maybe even the year before too, kind of just started jumping on the scene as being a quality pitcher and like pretty good. But like you said, Bregman, McCormick, Pena, those are good options. If you really want to pay up for Jordan, go for it. I mean, he's just an animal. So,
Hmm.
and the Dodgers are a little, they're right underneath in the stacks tool. Justin Steele's good. Don't get me wrong. And it's weird as a Sox fan to say that a Cubs pitcher is actually pretty good, but even last year he showed he was pretty good. But if you want to take a couple shots, maybe doing a one off or getting two bats from the Dodgers, there's nothing wrong with that.
Did you mention the Braves at all?
No, I mean I kind of just read off the top stacks. I really like the Braves here. They're the second. They have the second highest team total on Stochastic. I like those bats just playing Brady Singer. Kansas City all around is just a terrible team, so definitely get a couple Atlanta bats as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Murphy is pretty cheap here, and he's been pretty hot. And then Ozzy's at a cheaper price tag than he's used to, as he's been dropping down the order a little bit. And then
Didn't
obviously you
Ozzie
can
get
play
hurt?
Olson.
Oh, I'm thinking of their shortstop. Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah, they look pretty good. Uh, I just like targeting the teams with like quality top hitters on slates like this when they're not as owned as they should be, instead of
Hmm.
having these smaller stacks of you know Kansas City or something crazy. Like I'd rather just play the Braves, play the Astros, play the Mets, play Tampa. But God, Tampa has been so annoying. I don't know.
You got to get some of those bats against Barrios.
They finally made Brandon Lowe appropriately priced 4,100.
Okay, maybe not play him, but um, you ready to do home run calls?
Yeah, I got a couple lined up.
You want to go first?
Yeah.
All right.
So to start off, I'm gonna go target that Houston game. I think Bregman takes him out. And then I like India from the early slate, and then Matt Olson to round out the home run calls.
All right. So I'm gonna go Kyle Schwarber from the early slate. Gonna go Mike Trout against Boston, and then we alluded to him earlier, but I'm gonna go Jeremy Pena. So Schwarber, Trout, Pena, those are my three favorite options for today. Um, think we're all good actually. You got
Yeah.
anything else to wrap it up?
No, I think that should about cover it. Just tune into the Twitter. We'll drop the lineup 15-10 minutes beforehand, and feel free to ride with us. We've won a couple slates in a row now. Looking to push forward through the weekend, and we might drop NBA lineup too. Just depends. We've been fiddling around with the playoff lineups, so
That's
we'll
actually
go from
something I
there.
want
And
to. That's something I want to talk to you about. Like, we'll get to that, but yeah.
yeah,
Um,
just make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll be back here tomorrow.